Good morning. My name is Mark Vanderwerp. My wife Jill and I have been Christ Church members here for 35 years. We've had weddings, baptisms, and funerals here. Our daughter Leah met her husband Reese in the youth group here. And now our grandkids, Eliza and Thomas, get to enjoy Psalm Kids here every week. I've grown as a Christian man here. This place is really special to us. One of my favorite things every Sunday is when Pastor Eric ends with, "You've been to the church, you are the church, now get out there and be the church." That makes me smile every time. That's what Jesus tells us to do. It's really that simple. One way we can support each other as we work towards our mission of becoming living proof of God's love one person at a time is by living out the practices outlined in our membership vows. Our prayers, our presence, our gifts, our service, and our witness. Our 5x5 initiative this fall has aligned perfectly with that mission statement. It has had an effect on me, and I've also seen the Holy Spirit working in so many other caring members here recently. For me personally, I've become even more concerned for people in our community who are hungry and unhoused. I'm embarrassed to admit, I'm standing here in church, I'm embarrassed to admit I used to think unkind thoughts when I would see a homeless person on the side of the road asking for money. But after serving on the hunger team, I now find myself looking for those people. And I'm excited when I find one and I can hand them one of the snacks and sacks bags that our church has packed and say to them, "God bless you, my friend." Every Friday on my way to cook and serve at the Open Door Ministry at 4th Avenue United Methodist, I park at the corner of 2nd and St. Catherine, get out of my car, and I chat with my new friend Jim, an older gentleman in a wheelchair. He has blood clots in both legs, and he needs surgery. He watched his wife get hit and killed by a car as they crossed the street last year. But he still loves the Lord. I hand him 2 snack bags every time I see him, and he's so happy. He says that'll get him through 2 days. That's a great way to start my day. I feel my heart strangely warm, just as John Wesley did. I've also become big on inviting people to our Pass It On Kids sale, trunk or treat, and Christmas concerts. When I'm working at Dare to Care with people I just met, we usually get around to talking about our faith, and I'm always happy to brag about Christ Church United Methodist Church. Okay, I know what a lot of you are thinking out there. I'm also the guy who is also inviting you to help out, greet and park cars for Wreaths Across America, or help serve at one of our church-wide meals, or head up one of the Christ Church Cares Day sites, or volunteer at Dare to Care. And don't worry, I'm going to keep on inviting you because you all always say yes. You all always step up. I'm seeing a change in our congregation too. If a request is made for a specific need, you all step up. The Every Neighbor Fed, Housed, and Healthy team has been able to quickly meet needs financially in our community because so many of you are giving $5 a week to the fund. I see the young people of the All Thing New class taking over the Redbird Mission Project. That class gives me so much hope for the future. I see 200 people show up for Christ Church Cares Day every year, heading out into the community doing work. I see thousands of snacks and sack bags packed by both the young people and the not so young of the church. Christ Church, it is amazing to see God's love and generosity on full display every single day. We are growing together, and we're starting to be known as a compassionate, generous church that truly cares. I can't wait to see what we accomplish in the next 35 years. Thank you.
Good morning, my Christ Church family. My name is Betsy Gibbs, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about the history of the Every Neighbor teams and their growing impact on our city. Last fall, our church offered 4 informational sessions which focused on the challenges the most vulnerable people in our city face every day. Our own Tom Walton stepped up to lead us, and soon the Every Neighbor tagline was adopted. 3 teams were formed, every neighbor fed, every neighbor housed, and every neighbor healthy. And their goal is to find ways to address the most pressing issues that the poor face. One of the first things I remember Tom saying is, let's not reinvent the wheel. Let's look at what is already working and then collaborate and bring people together. So each team began researching the great work already taking place both inside the walls of this church and outside. We decided to direct our efforts towards Dare to Care, the Open Door Ministry, Grace and Glory Church, Louisville Outreach for the Unsheltered, Fern Creek United Methodist Church with their Snacks and Sacks program and their Street Reach serves, and Jacob's Ladder, who along with their weekly serves are fundraising to build Eden Village. It is so evident that the Holy Spirit has behind all of this work, opening our hearts and minds as we were challenged over the summer to be bold by Pastor Leanne and to get out of our boxes and live what we believe by Reverend Darrell Glass. Most recently, the 5x5 Invitation to Discipleship created a separate Every Neighbor Fund, which has, to date, are you ready? Raised over $43,000. I know. $26,000 has already been donated to organizations to purchase food items and meals during a time of increased need during the government shutdown. Christ Church, each week I have seen firsthand through my direct contact with our homeless how your generosity is profoundly affecting and giving hope to so many in our community. One of those is named Frank. Elizabeth and I began going on serves with Reverend Darrell Glass early last spring, and he slowly introduced us to those he has been serving for over a decade. Just before arriving at Frank's camp, Darrell stated that Frank is very private and only trusts a few people. Wanting to preserve that hard-fought trust previously established, I kept my distance and quietly greeted him. He neither made eye contact with me nor said anything, but quietly accepted items from Darrell. Each week, he continued to avoid eye contact with me, departing without much interaction. The first time he engaged in conversation, he said, "Well, I have a lot of anger issues." And I kind of laughed and I said, "Gee, me too." Our weekly serves continued like this until early one morning, a few weeks ago, I received a text from Darrell that said, "Frank's tent completely burned down last night and he barely made it out of there alive. We have to go see him." When we arrived, we saw Frank's legs had sustained awful burns, so it was important to get him into shelter so that he didn't develop an infection. We put him up for a week's stay in a hotel, and after we settled Frank into his room, he looked us in the eye for the first time and profusely thanked us. Miraculously, we were able to arrange for a nurse to come to the hotel the next morning and to treat his burns, give him some medicine for pain, and she generously left him with extra supplies to care for his wounds for over the next month. Frank called me often, not wanting to bother me, but just needing someone to talk to. During one of those talks, he shared his past and told me how he had become homeless. It was a very sacred conversation. Before Frank's hotel stay ended, people had rallied together to replace most everything he had lost in the fire, and he bravely returned to his spot, his home, in the woods. Darrell, Elizabeth, and I saw Frank just the other day. His legs have completely healed, and he was in great spirits and greeted us warmly. And despite our cars being full of supplies and snacks, he only took what he needed: Vaseline to continue to treat his legs, and a few bags of snacks, and some Sterno to keep warm at night. With a big hug goodbye and a smile, he said, "I'll see you next week." Yes, we will. Thanks be to God. And thank you, Christ Church.